decided to check in with Hot Yoga Detroit Center in downtown Northville to get some facts about hot yoga. So in addition to preparing to sweat, here is what you need to know about hot yoga. Hello, Ernie. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, Ernie is the yoga instructor and he's the owner of Hot Yoga Detroit. He's going to give us some tips about hot yoga today. So, Ernie, to practice yoga for 60 to 90 minutes in a heated room at 105-degree temperature, what can you tell us about that?
Well, we use the heat to warm up the body so that we can bend. It's kind of like when you, like a blacksmith, when they heat the steel up with the fire. If they try to bend the steel, when it's cold, it'll break. Right? So we want to warm the body up so that we can bend and move the body. And it's just like same concept.
Okay, so to help like the body to be flexible?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yep. And you know, heat is probably the biggest concern for most people when they first consider doing Bikram yoga. But it's something that everyone has to deal with when they practice this yoga, and it's just a matter of a few classes or getting used to the heat, practicing in the heat and acclimating to the heat, and it just takes a little time.
Okay, so hot yoga is very challenging.
Sure.
So what can you tell us? Where did it come from? Where did hot yoga originated from?
Well, the first question, is it challenging? Or it is challenging.
Yes.
Hot yoga, the Bikram method of hot yoga, to me, is probably one of the most challenging practices that I've done. But the beauty of it is that anyone can do it. So you don't have to have a lot of experience. As you know, you came first class and you did it and you did fine. It was tough, challenging, and the heat was an issue, but little by little it starts getting better. Already you're acclimating to the heat better than the first class, right? In a month or so.
But for many times I was afraid like I might get dizzy or lightheaded. This is like some of the concerns
very normal.
That I have actually.
Sure, that's very normal. Dizzy, lightheaded, first few classes, very normal. Everybody goes through that, and it just, like I said, takes a few classes to get through that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are the health benefits from practicing hot yoga?
There's so many benefits to practicing yoga. Just any yoga, for that matter. I mean, you practice hatha yoga, you're doing your body good. You gotta, you're moving your body, you're stretching, extending, compressing, activating. All that stuff it's good stuff. And Bikram yoga is no different than any other yoga. It all works on the body, the physical body, to help make the body more supple, more flexible, stronger, balance, all that stuff.
So because it is more challenging, shouldn't it be more beneficial or not?
Well, I'm biased because this is what I teach and this is what I practice. So personally, I can speak for myself. I've had major knee injury. About 10, 12 years ago, I tore my ACL in my left knee, and I never had surgery. I just rehabbed it through yoga, and I'm completely normal now. I also had major back issues for years, 5 to 7 years. I had a herniated disc, and 4 surgeons wanted me to have surgery and have it fused, and I just kept doing what I'm doing. Doing yoga, other therapies too, but mainly yoga. And for 3 years, I'm completely pain-free, no back pain whatsoever.
So you're talking, it is healing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it healed your back.
This is a healing practice for sure. This yoga is, therapeutic hatha yoga.
Ideally, absolute hot yoga is practiced in a room heated to 39 degrees Celsius or 102 degrees Fahrenheit. The heat helps to detoxify your body, deepen the stretches, and safely increases the intensity and benefits of your practice. If you don't have access to a heated room or a studio right now, don't let that stop you. It's okay to practice without the heat, and you'll experience the benefits of yoga either way. Now, let's begin. We begin in child's pose. Kneel on the floor with your knees wide apart. With big toes together, sit on your heels. Inhale, lengthen up through your spine. Exhale, stretch your arms forward out in front of you, palms down on the mat. Slowly lower your torso down over your legs. Shift the weight back into your hips. Hips rest on your heels. Rest your forehead on the floor. Side of your ribs release down between your thighs. Begin Samavriti Pranayama, or equal breath. We learn to move with the breath. Come into an all-fours position. Hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, top of your feet flat on the mat, toes point straight back. Inhale, lift your tailbone and head, drop your stomach down, moving each of your vertebrae, look up, tailbone up. Move with your breath, exhale, round your back like an angry cat. Pull your stomach in, tuck your tailbone under, chin to chest, look at your belly button. Press your hands firmly into the mat. Inhale, lift your chin and chest, tailbone stretches up. Exhale, round your spine, pull your stomach in, chin to chest, tailbone under. Inhale, lift your chin and chest, tailbone stretches up, look up. Exhale, round your spine, pull your stomach in, chin to chest, tailbone under. Learn to move with your breath. Inhale, lift your chin and chest, tailbone up, full inhale. Exhale, round your spine, pull in your stomach, chin to chest, tailbone under. Last round. Inhale, lift your chin and chest, tailbone stretches up, look up. Exhale, round your spine, pull your stomach in, chin to chest, tailbone tucks under. Change. Come back to neutral spine. Downward facing dog. Start in all-fours position. Look at your hands. Hands directly under your shoulders. Spread your fingers wide, middle finger pointing forward to the front of the mat. Actively press your hands and fingers firmly into the mat. Walk your knees back a little, curl your toes under, exhale, lift your hips. Your knees lift off the mat, straighten your legs. Feet parallel, heels pressed down towards the floor, straight arms, straight legs. Extend your hips away from your hands, stretching and lengthening your spine.
Like one of the misconceptions about hot yoga is we lose water, not weight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're in a room for 105 degrees at about 40% humidity. So it's not just hot, but it's humid too.
Yeah.
So you're going to sweat probably more than you ever have in your entire life. So you will lose a lot of water weight in a 90-minute class. That's why it's important to be hydrated, stay hydrated, you know, drinking a lot of water before and after.
So along with like losing water, because obviously
Right.
we lose water,
Right.
but we lose weight.
Right, and so I mean, I think you know that's probably the biggest misconception with exercise.
Yeah.
In general, is that if I just exercise, I'm going to lose weight. But we all know that, well, not everybody, but we know that 70% of weight loss is nutrition and diet. So I've seen people come to yoga for years and never lose weight. But I've seen people who are on a good plan, they're determined to lose weight, they're on a good nutritional plan, they start doing hot yoga, and doing hot yoga in the heat, it really ramps up your metabolism. So it makes your body more efficient. You know, your digestive system becomes more efficient.
So you eat more? I mean, I've noticed I eat more after a class.
Right. Well, one of the things about this practice is if you practice it consistently, you'll notice that you have to really watch what you eat, because what you eat can really affect you adversely in the class. So it's important that it really becomes more of a lifestyle, really. So as you start practicing this yoga, it's so challenging. You're not going to come to class after, you know, going to some fast food restaurant, because you're going to be sick. So you don't want to waste that time. So you start eating around your practice, and you start eating better automatically, because if you're going to practice this, you have to take care of yourself. Otherwise, you're going to have negative effects in the yoga room.
losing weight.
Right.
No matter what we say,
Sure.
it's a lifestyle, but people do
It's our culture.
People do all kind
Yeah.
of sports to lose weight and
Sure.
to feel good. Once
Right.
they lose weight, they feel good about themselves. So how many calories do we burn approximately when practicing hot yoga? Approximately.
Well, there's been a few scientific studies from real scientists, and you know, depending on the test, you know, it can vary. But I would say probably average person, you could probably burn, you know, 300 to 400 calories in a yoga class, in a hot yoga class. But it can vary between person, you know, if somebody is really exerting a lot of energy and can maintain that pace throughout class, then they're going to burn more calories. You know, so and then you see some people come in and they don't, you know, they're not real intense with their practice. They don't get deep into their practice. They just, you know, maybe they're
like follow steps, but they don't do it deeply.
Right. Maybe they're dealing with an injury or something. Maybe they're in it for a different reason, you know. So it just depends on what your goal is. And if that's what your goal is to lose weight and to burn calories, then you got to really work at it. You got to work hard in the class.
But you were saying earlier about like the food intake and about doing yoga, practicing yoga. So it is a combination. We have to watch what we eat and eat right, and then practice yoga. So we'll
right. And so you know, we always tell people try to come on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
And then yeah, when you get done practicing, a lot of people notice that they're really hungry. But that's the best time to eat, is after your exercise, you know, because your metabolism is ramped up and it really attacks and digests the food more quickly, more efficiently after, you know, when your metabolism is up.
So how do we prepare for your class?
So you have to come on an empty stomach. So you don't want to eat 2 to 3 hours before class. You know, lighter foods are better, and obviously you got to be good and hydrated.
So Ernie, do you believe in consistency versus variety in poses?
I believe in both.
Okay.
So our practice, the Bikram method practice, is extremely consistent, right? It's always the same 90-minute class, all the same postures, 26 poses, 2 breathing exercises, and we do everything twice.
Okay,
right?
that's Bikram.
That's Bikram method, okay? I love the consistency because what it does for beginners, for one, is you see right away results, and you see improvement right away because it's always the same. So you know where you start and you know where you are as you keep progressing in the practice, right?
So people follow the same steps.
Same steps every time. But, you know, we teach yin yoga here, and, you know, we have a hot Pilates class here on Tuesday nights, and, you know, it's just good and fun to try different things sometimes,
But
you know.
Is yin meditation class?
Yin is more passive stretching, deeper stretching, more passive stretching, more connective tissue stretching, where Bikram method is there's a lot of stretching, but it's more active stretching.
Okay.
So it's not as passive. Like every posture, you have to incorporate every part of you to do it.
This is where we practice Bikram Yoga, a sequence of 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises, practiced in a heated room at 40 degrees Celsius, 40% humidity. This helps detoxify the body, is very beneficial for weight loss and stress relief.
It's active stretching. Bikram method is active stretching, whereas yin yoga is more passive but deeper stretching.
Okay, you mentioned like you like consistency and variety. So in hot yoga or Bikram, it's But consistency.
It's very consistent.
Consistent.
Right.
So what about varieties?
So, like, as far as other styles of yoga, or just...
Or this particular one?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I primarily, the Bikram method is my practice. But I do other things too that are kind of like homework for my practice.
Okay.
All right. So it's not stuff that I mean, I do teach it to students, but it's not like it's not part of the regular class.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is yoga spiritual? What does it do to the mind?
Well, spiritualism is a really personal thing, you know, and so I can only answer that for myself.
Okay.
And so, you know, when I first started practicing this yoga, I had no concept of spiritualism and yoga. You know, I wasn't really into it. I was doing it purely for physical benefits, for back issues and, you know, other issues. And so the thing is when you start practicing this yoga, it is physical because it takes time, right? So you have to learn the postures. So when you first start practicing, it's all you know, there's this big learning curve. And really the learning curve never stops, but maybe the arc kind of flattens out a little bit. And so there's not as much learning for, say, as a beginner, but maybe it's not even that, it's just the learning is a little bit different. It's a different kind of learning. It's about learning about yourself, and it's about knowing yourself. And so this practice, to me, is a moving meditation. People say that Bikram yoga, there's no meditation, but as you know, when you're practicing this yoga, you can't think about much else. Only thing is what you're doing right in front of you.
It's about focusing.
And it's about focusing on what is in front of you right now, right here. And it's about being in the moment. And that's, to me, the biggest lesson that I've learned about yoga is about being in the present moment. It's not about, you know, fear of or regrets of the past, fear of the future. It's about right now, right here. And that's how we incorporate yoga into our life, because this room is like a little microcosm of my world, right? My practice, my yoga practice is a microcosm of my world. So many lessons in the class that I learn just about life, and really it always comes back to the same thing. It's about staying in the moment and being present and not getting too caught up in what happened before, what happened in the last class, what happened in the last posture, but it's about right now, right here, one breath at a time, breathing your breath, learning how to breathe calmly, learning how to breathe slow, and learning how to breathe soft.
Isn't it about discipline the mind? Somehow, part of it?
Well, yeah, the you know, discipline, I mean, if you want to improve, you have to come consistently, and you have to be disciplined. I mean, that's part of the practice. And then once you get into the practice, there's all, you know, you have the discipline to be able to listen and hear what the instruction is. So you first have to train yourself how to listen, how to hear what's happening, what the teacher's saying, because even though it's a beginning yoga class, some of the postures are pretty complex, and a lot of people go, wow, I can do that as a beginner, and it's like, well, yeah, maybe the depth won't be there, but you do little by little, and you keep coming, you get more into it, more and more and more. So this practice teaches you, because every day you come in here, when you practice yoga, the hardest part is getting here. Because why? Because the mind will sabotage you from going and doing what you need to do, right? So what's important, you know, always, easy to do the easy things, but the tough things, we got to really push ourselves to do it. Time and time again, it's always just getting here. Once you're here, you're here. And so now you can move and shift into that moving meditation where you can learn to quiet the mind. And when you can quiet your mind, what happens? You notice. What do you notice? You notice yourself. You notice, you know, what's happening inside, the feelings and sensations that are going on inside your body that we are completely, for the most part, our culture.
Yeah. After a while, it becomes deeper and deeper.
It becomes deeper and deeper. The practice becomes more internal, right? So we kind of start to get out of our head, and we start to move into our body more. And that's what it is, because we hold on to tension in our body, emotional tension. We learn to release emotional tension through quieting the mind and through learning how to still the mind and listen and be in the moment, right? Be present. That's what it's all about, finding the moment, being present. And
so we're looking at a long-term healing.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Sure.
Ernie, we conclude this today that yoga is very challenging but yet very rewarding. And I want to thank you so much. And I appreciate your time, and I'm very delighted to be here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
And namaste.
Namaste. All right.